Mother's Day 2024, May 12th. A Sunday I'll never forget. Not because it was special, because it was the day I realized I'd lost my son. I'm Chen. I'm 68 years old. I'm a retired elementary school teacher. And on that Sunday in May, I was sitting at my kitchen table in my house, the house my husband Tom and I bought in 1989, watching my family destroy everything. The turkey was getting cold on my plate. I hadn't touched it. Couldn't. Jennifer, my daughter-in-law, was rearranging my china cabinet. Again, without asking. She'd been doing that for weeks, moving my mother's dishes to different shelves, putting her own decorations where mine used to be. Each time I walked past that cabinet, I felt like a stranger in my own home. Michael, my son, my 42-year-old son, sat across from me. His kids, Emma and Jake, were quiet at the other end of the table. Too quiet. They used to run to me when they came over, used to call me Grandma Carol and show me their drawings and ask me to read to them. Now they barely looked at me. Michael set down his fork. The sound was sharp against the plate. He looked at me. His eyes were flat, cold. "Mom," he said. His voice was matter-of-fact, like he was discussing the weather. "You need to understand something." I waited. My hands were gripping the edge of the table. "You're basically a guest here now." He said it slowly, deliberately. "Jennifer and I are running things. We're making the decisions. You just need to accept that." A guest. In my house. The house I'd paid off in 2010. The house where I'd raised him, where I'd sat up with him when he had fevers, where I'd made him breakfast before school every morning for 18 years, where I'd cried after his father died, a guest. I looked at Jennifer. She was nodding, like Michael had just said something reasonable, something I should agree with. I looked at my grandchildren. They were staring at their plates. I looked back at Michael. And I didn't recognize him. My hands were still gripping the table. The turkey was still cold, and I couldn't speak, couldn't move. Just sat there, feeling something inside me crack. Here's the thing about that moment. It wasn't the first time. 6 months earlier, Michael had called me, asked if he and Jennifer could stay a few weeks while they figured some things out. He'd lost his job. They needed time. Of course I said yes. He was my son. A few weeks turned into 2 months. 2 months turned into 4. And somewhere along the way, "Can I help you with that, Mom?" became, "I'll handle this. Let me take care of that for you," became, "You don't need to worry about this anymore." By Mother's Day, he wasn't asking. He was telling, and I was a guest. I sat there at my kitchen table. The same table where Michael had done his homework 30 years ago. The same table where Tom and I used to have coffee every morning. The same table where I'd signed the mortgage papers in 1989. And I realized something. This wasn't help. This wasn't my son taking care of his aging mother. This was something else entirely. I looked up, saw the family photos on the wall behind Michael's head, pictures of him as a little boy, making Mother's Day cards with construction paper and crayons, smiling at me like I was the most important person in the world. That little boy was gone. And the man sitting across from me, the man who just called me a guest in my own house, was a stranger. "Okay," I heard myself say. My voice was quiet, steady. "Okay." Michael smiled, relaxed, like he'd just solved a problem. Jennifer went back to the china cabinet, and I sat there, hands still gripping the table, mind racing. That was the moment I knew. My son thought he owned my house. He was wrong. Let me tell you how I got here. My name is Chen. I'm 68 years old. I taught elementary school for 35 years. 3rd grade, retired in 2017. My husband Tom, he was an engineer, died 12 years ago. Heart attack. It was sudden. I grieved, but I moved forward. That's what you do. We bought our house in 1989, a split level in the suburbs, 3 bedrooms upstairs, 1 down. Tom and I raised 2 kids here, Michael and Sarah. The mortgage was paid off in 2010. The house is mine, was mine, is mine. That's important to remember. I'm not wealthy. I have a teacher's pension, Social Security, Tom's life insurance. I was careful with it, invested it properly. The house was paid off. I was comfortable. Not rich, but comfortable. I had a life. I had routines. Every morning at 6:30, I took my coffee to the back porch, watched the sunrise over the garden. Tom planted roses our first year in this house. 1989. 35 years later, they still bloom every June. Some mornings, sitting out there with my coffee, I could almost feel him beside me. Almost. My neighbor Helen waved from her porch next door. She's 72, retired nurse. We've been doing that for 15 years. The morning wave. 6:30, like clockwork. No words needed, just, I'm here. I see you. You're not alone. That was my life. Quiet, peaceful, mine. And then Michael called. It was 18 months ago, November 2022. He asked if he and Jennifer and the kids could stay just a few weeks. He'd lost his job, tech layoffs. 300 people let go. Michael was one of them. He'd been a financial advisor for 15 years. Good at it. Made 6 figures. Then, gone. Jennifer's parents are wealthy. Old money. Investment portfolios. Country club memberships. Michael always felt like he was performing for them, proving he could provide. When he lost his job, that proof evaporated. Of course I said yes, he was my son. They needed help. A few weeks turned into months. Michael has 2 kids. Emma, she's 6 now. Jake, he's 4. They used to run to me when they came over. Grandma Carol, showing me their drawings, asking me to read to them. But after Michael moved in, things changed. Jennifer started coaching them. Don't bother Grandma, she's resting. Even when I wasn't resting. Even when I wanted to see them. By Mother's Day, Emma and Jake barely looked at me. Didn't make cards. Jennifer said they were too busy. My daughter Sarah is 40. She lives in Denver, Colorado, 3 states away. She's a project manager at a tech company. Divorced 2 years ago. No kids. We video call every Sunday. She's good about that. She sends care packages, Colorado honey, herbal teas, things like that, but she's far away. And I think part of her feels guilty about that. So when I'd mention that Michael was taking over a bit, she'd say, Mom, he's just trying to help. He's stressed. Give him time. I wanted to believe her. Here's what I gave Michael over the years. $28,000 for college. I took summer school teaching jobs for 6 years straight to afford it. $15,000 for his first condo down payment. That came from my retirement savings. When his business loan fell through, I co-signed. $12,000. He defaulted. I paid it. When he lost his job and Jennifer couldn't afford daycare, I paid for that too. $18,000 over 2 years. The wedding cost $32,000. I paid for most of it. Total, over $100,000. 40 years of saying yes. I wasn't keeping score. That's what I told myself. I was being a mother. But sitting there after Mother's Day, after he called me a guest, I added it up, and I realized I'd been giving him ownership for years of my money, of my decisions, of my life. I just hadn't known it yet. Patricia Moore has been my attorney for 12 years. She handled Tom's will back in 2012. She specializes in elder law, estates, trusts, power of attorney documents. She's 55, professional, kind. I trusted her. 8 months before Mother's Day, Michael suggested I update my will. Make him the executor. Update the power of attorney, just in case something happens, Mom. I remember sitting in Patricia's office. Michael was with me. He'd driven me there. Said he wanted to help me understand the paperwork. Patricia explained everything. The changes would give Michael access to my accounts for emergencies, medical decisions, financial management. If you become incapacitated. I signed. I remember Patricia looking at me, like she wanted to say something, but Michael was right there, smiling, reassuring. It's just a precaution, Mom, he said, just in case. I trusted him. He was my son. That was my mistake, my moment of complicity. I ignored the feeling in my gut that said, why does he need this much access? Why now? But I signed anyway. I kept photos of Michael on the refrigerator, birthday parties, graduations, his wedding day, pictures of him as a little boy making Mother's Day cards with construction paper and crayons, hearts drawn in red crayon. "You're the best mom ever," he wrote. He spelled ever wrong, EVR. I kept that card for 35 years. It's in my desk drawer upstairs. Standing in my kitchen that week after Mother's Day, I looked at those photos, and I realized I was looking at a stranger. The little boy in those pictures, the one who made me crayon cards, he was gone. Had been for years. I just hadn't wanted to admit it. Here's the thing about being a mother. You want to believe the best about your kids. You want to think he's going through a hard time, he's stressed. He doesn't mean it, he'll change. But Michael didn't change. He escalated. After Mother's Day, I couldn't sleep, kept thinking about that word. Guest, in my own house. I went downstairs at 2 a.m, got a glass of water, and I saw it. Michael's briefcase, open on my kitchen table. My kitchen table. I walked over, looked inside. Papers, legal documents, and right on top, my house deed. The edges were highlighted in yellow, sections about transfer on death clauses, about succession, about incapacity triggers. There were notes in the margins, Michael's handwriting, calculating, planning. Next to the briefcase, his iPad. The screen was still lit. He'd left it unlocked. I could see an email from Jennifer to Michael, sent 3 days before Mother's Day. "Just get her to sign the paperwork," it said. "Play nice at dinner. She'll do whatever you ask. She always does." I stood there in my kitchen, 2:30 a.m, holding my water glass, and I realized this wasn't an accident. This wasn't careless help. This was deliberate. My son was planning to take my house. The next morning, I called Patricia Moore. "I'd like to schedule a routine review," I said, kept my voice calm, normal, "of my estate documents, just to make sure everything's in order." Patricia's voice was cautious. "Carol, is everything all right?" "Fine," I said. "I just want to be thorough." There was a pause. Then, "I can see you Thursday, 2 o'clock?" Michael was at a job interview that afternoon. Jennifer had taken the kids to her parents' house. I had the house to myself for the first time in weeks. I went to my home office, the small room downstairs where Tom used to pay bills, where I used to grade papers. Michael had been using it lately. "Just for job applications, Mom. Hope you don't mind." I minded, but I hadn't said anything. Now I opened the filing cabinet, the one where I kept important documents, birth certificates, the deed to the house, insurance policies. Everything was reorganized in different folders, different order. I found my house deed, pulled it out. The pages felt crisp, official. I'd signed this in 1989. Tom's signature was right next to mine, but there was something new. A sticky note. Michael's handwriting. Check transfer protocols. Verify successor clauses. My hands started shaking. I heard the front door open. Michael's voice. "Mom, you home?" He was back early. I shoved the deed back into the folder, closed the filing cabinet. My heart was pounding. "Mom? I'm in here," I called. Tried to keep my voice steady. "Just looking for Tom's pot roast recipe. Thought I'd make it this week." Michael appeared in the doorway. His eyes went to the filing cabinet. To me. Back to the cabinet. "You were in the files?" His voice was casual, but his jaw was tight. "I was looking for the recipe," I said. "Tom kept it in one of those old cookbooks. I thought maybe it was filed in here." "It's not." He was watching me. "Those are financial documents, Mom, legal papers. You shouldn't be moving things around." I met his eyes. "It's my filing cabinet. In my house." Something flickered across his face. Irritation. Maybe anger. "Of course it is," he said. His smile was tight. "I just don't want you to get confused. Some of those documents are complicated. I've been organizing them to help you." "I didn't ask you to organize them." "Mom." His voice had that patient tone, the one that made me feel small. "You're 68. Estate documents can be confusing. I'm just trying to make things easier for you. I'm not confused. Okay. He held up his hands, like I was being unreasonable. Okay, I'm just trying to help. That's all I've ever done. He walked away. I stood there in the office, listening to his footsteps on the stairs. The texture of the deed folder was still on my fingertips, cold, smooth. I went to the kitchen, pulled out Tom's old cookbook, the one with the pot roast recipe, the one where I'd hidden the copies of my house deed the night before. They were still there. Thursday afternoon, Patricia's office. The conference room was too cold. I'd forgotten my cardigan, goosebumps on my arms. Patricia spread documents across the table. My will. The power of attorney I'd signed 8 months ago. Some papers I didn't recognize. Carol, she said quietly, when you signed these documents last year, did Michael explain what they meant? He said it was routine, updates, in case something happened to me. Patricia pointed to a section, highlighted in yellow. This gives him durable power of attorney, not just for medical emergencies, for everything, your bank accounts, your property, medical decisions. He can access anything. The room felt colder. There's more, Patricia said. She slid another document across the table. This is a transfer on death designation for your house. If something happens to you, if you become incapacitated, or if you pass away, the house automatically goes to Michael. No probate, no waiting, just transfers. I didn't sign that. You did, Patricia's voice was gentle. It's your signature, right here. She was right. It was my signature. At the bottom of a page I'd never read. He brought you several documents that day, Patricia said. You signed them all. Do you remember reading them? I didn't. I remembered Michael saying, just routine, Mom. Patricia will explain, but it's standard stuff. I'd trusted him. There's something else, Patricia said. She was looking at me carefully. I ran a check on your property records. Standard procedure in these situations. What situations? Elder financial exploitation. She said it matter-of-factly. Michael filed a preliminary quitclaim deed 6 weeks ago at the county recorder's office. What does that mean? It means he tried to transfer ownership of your house to himself. The filing was rejected. Incomplete signatures, notarization issues. But Carol, he was testing the process. The room was spinning. Or maybe I was. He set himself up as successor owner, Patricia continued. If you were deemed incapacitated for any reason, this house would transfer to him automatically. And with the power of attorney he has, he could make that determination himself. I couldn't breathe. Could make what determination? That you're incapacitated, that you can't make decisions for yourself anymore. Patricia's voice was steady, clinical. Carol, he has the legal authority to take control of your life, your money, your house, everything. I sat there. The conference room was too cold. The papers on the table were too many. Patricia's voice was too calm. What do? I heard myself ask. Patricia looked at me. Her eyes were kind, but her voice was firm. You need proof. That night, I couldn't sleep. I went downstairs at midnight, got water from the kitchen, and I heard Michael's voice on the phone in the guest room, his room now, apparently. The door was open a crack. I can't keep bleeding money, Jen. His voice was strained, desperate. Mom has to help. I don't. Another option. Pause. I could hear Jennifer's voice through the phone. Tinny, insistent. I know, Michael said. I'll figure it out, but I need access to the accounts. Once that's done, we can... Yeah, exactly. She won't even notice. Another pause. The house is worth $400,000, easy, maybe more. If we sell it, split the money with Sarah, we're looking at $200,000. That clears the credit cards, gets us started again. We just need Mom to... He stopped talking. I heard footsteps inside the room. Moving toward the door, I turned, walked quickly back to the kitchen, poured water I didn't need. My hand was shaking so hard the water splashed on the counter. Michael appeared, looked at me. His face was carefully blank. Can't sleep? He asked. Just thirsty. He watched me for a long moment. You okay, Mom? You seem distracted lately. I'm fine. You sure? Because if you're having trouble keeping track of things, remembering things, we should probably talk to a doctor, get you checked out. There it was, the suggestion, planted like a seed. I'm fine, I repeated. He smiled. Okay, good. Just worried about you. That's all. He went back to his room, closed the door. I stood in the kitchen, my kitchen, in my house. And I understood. He wasn't just planning to take my house. He was planning to make it look like I couldn't take care of myself, like I needed him, like I was confused, incapacitated, so no one would question it when he took control. The next day, Helen came over. She didn't knock, just walked in the back door like she had 1,000 times, carrying a casserole dish. Wednesday, casserole day. Tuna casserole, she said, set it on the counter, looked at me. You look tired, Carol. I'm okay. Helen pulled out a chair, sat down at my kitchen table, waited. I sat down across from her. Something's wrong, Helen said. It wasn't a question. I looked at her. This woman who'd lived next door for 15 years, who'd waved at me every morning, who knew me. You were right, I said quietly. About Michael. Something was wrong. Helen reached across the table, squeezed my hand. Tell me, she said. So I did. I told her about the briefcase, the emails, Patricia's office, the documents I'd signed without reading, the quitclaim deed Michael had filed, the phone call I'd overheard. Helen listened, didn't interrupt. When I finished, she was quiet for a moment. Then she said, My son borrowed money from me 15 years ago, said it was temporary, said he'd pay it back. He never did. And I let it go. Because he was my son. Because I didn't want to cause problems. She squeezed my hand harder. I love him, Helen said. But I learned something. We love them. But we have to protect ourselves. It's not selfish, Carol. It's survival. I nodded. Couldn't speak. What do you need? Helen asked. Proof, I said. Patricia said I need proof. Helen stood up. Then let's get you proof. Patricia called me back 2 days later. Carol, can you come to my office tomorrow morning? I need to show you something. Her voice was serious, professional, the kind of tone that meant bad news. I'll be there, I said. Saturday morning, 9 o'clock, Patricia's conference room. The air conditioning was running too high. I'd brought a cardigan this time, but I was still cold. Patricia had file folders spread across the table, bank statements, legal documents, printed emails, my house deed. She sat down across from me. Her face was careful, controlled. I'm going to show you what I found, she said, and I need you to stay calm. Can you do that? I nodded. My hands were already shaking. Patricia opened the first folder, pulled out a stack of papers, bank statements, from my checking account, 18 months of records. She spread them across the table, one by one. The pages made a rustling sound, like dry leaves. These are your account records, Patricia said, starting November 2022, when Michael moved in. I looked at the numbers. Transaction after transaction, withdrawals I didn't recognize. Here, Patricia pointed, her finger traced down the page. November 15th, electronic transfer, $2,800 to Michael's credit card account. She moved to another statement. December 3rd, cash withdrawal, $1,500, ATM on Maple Street. Another page. January 9th, check deposit to Michael's bank, $3,200, your signature on the check. But Carol, she looked at me, you didn't write this check, did you? I leaned forward, looked at the signature. It looked like mine. Almost. But the C was wrong. The loop was too wide. I'd signed my name thousands of times, grading papers, writing checks. I knew my own handwriting. That's not my signature, I said. I know. Patricia's voice was quiet. There are 3 checks like this, 3 forged signatures. She pulled out a highlighter, started marking the statements, yellow streaks across the pages. 17 unauthorized withdrawals, she said, over 18 months, totaling $47,000. The room tilted. Or maybe I did. $47,000. I sat there in Patricia's office, looking at those numbers. $47,000, Michael's handwriting on the withdrawal slips, 3 forged signatures, my name in his hand. I thought about every double shift I'd worked when he was young. The summers I taught extra classes because regular teacher salary wasn't enough. Every time I'd packed my lunch instead of buying it, saved $5 here, $10 there. Every time I'd said no to myself, new clothes, vacations, even Tom's anniversary dinner once, so I could say yes to him. College tuition, the business loan, the wedding, the down payment on his condo, daycare for Emma and Jake. Over $100,000 I'd given him freely, willingly, because I was his mother, because I loved him, because that's what mothers do, and he'd stolen from me. Not borrowed, stolen. While calling me a guest in the house I'd paid for, while treating me like I was the problem, like I was confused, like I was in the way. I looked at Patricia. Is this illegal? Yes. She didn't hesitate. Carol, this is elder financial abuse. It's a crime. Patricia opened another folder. These are the power of attorney documents you signed last year, she said. The originals that Tom set up gave Michael limited authority, medical emergencies only. But look at what Michael had you sign. She pointed to a section, dense legal language. I'd never read it carefully. Durable power of attorney, Patricia said. Effective immediately, not just for medical decisions, for everything. Bank accounts, property transactions, medical treatment, end-of-life decisions. He can access anything, make any decision on your behalf. She pulled out another document. And this is your medical evaluation from March, she said. Your annual physical. Dr. Warren's office sent it over when I requested it. Look at the cognitive assessment section. I read it. Normal. All normal. Memory excellent. Decision-making capacity intact. No signs of dementia or diminished capacity. Michael was building a case that you're incapacitated, Patricia said. But the medical records prove you're not. This contradicts any guardianship claim he might make. She wasn't done. Patricia pulled out more papers, emails, text messages. I subpoenaed Michael's email account, she said. Court order, these are messages between him and Jennifer from the past 6 months. She slid them across the table. I started reading. Jennifer to Michael, March 15th. Once the house is in our name, we can refinance, take out equity. That's another $100K easy. Michael to Jennifer, April 2nd. She'll never notice the withdrawals. I'm keeping them under $3,000. Banks don't flag anything under $5,000. Jennifer to Michael, April 28th. Your mom's a retired teacher. She's not going to figure this out. Just keep playing nice. Michael to Jennifer, May 9th, 3 days before Mother's Day. Talk to attorney about guardianship petition. Says we need evidence of confusion, memory problems, working on it. Dinner Sunday. Be nice. Need her compliant for next round of paperwork. I couldn't look away. Couldn't stop reading. Reading those emails, I didn't recognize my son. The words on the page, cold, calculated, predatory? Or maybe I finally did recognize him. Maybe this was who he'd always been, and I just refused to see it. Patricia's voice pulled me back. There's more. She opened another folder, thinner than the others. Property records, Patricia said. From the county recorder's office. Michael filed a quitclaim deed 6 weeks ago, tried to transfer ownership of your house to himself. He claimed you authorized it, that you wanted to gift him the property. I know, the filing. Was rejected. Incomplete notarization. But Carol, he was testing the process, learning how to do it properly next time. Patricia closed that folder, opened the last one. I also contacted your financial advisor, Thomas Chen at Merrill Lynch, the one Tom set you up with in 2010. He reviewed your account activity. His professional opinion is that someone with financial training accessed your accounts, someone who knew which withdrawals wouldn't trigger bank alerts, someone who understood the system. She pulled out one more document, and this is from Helen Martinez, your neighbor. She provided a written statement, dates, times, observations. She's been documenting Michael's behavior for months, the arguments she overheard, the day Jennifer yelled at you in the garden, the morning Michael threatened to have you evaluated if you didn't cooperate. I looked at Patricia, at the folders on the table, at the evidence of my son's betrayal spread out in neat, organized stacks. Is there more? I asked. My voice sounded distant, like it belonged to someone else. Patricia looked at me, sad, sympathetic, but firm. Isn't this enough? I went home. Michael's car wasn't in the driveway. Good. I went straight to the back porch, Tom's rose garden. It was early June. The roses were starting to bloom, pink and white and deep red. I knelt down, pulled weeds I'd been ignoring for weeks, got my hands in the dirt. The earth was solid beneath my knees, tangible, real. Unlike the numbers on those bank statements, unlike my son's lies. I stayed there for an hour, just pulling weeds, just breathing. Helen appeared at the fence. She didn't say anything, just stood there. Then she came through the gate, knelt down beside me, started pulling weeds too. We worked in silence for 20 minutes. Finally, Helen said, "You okay?" "No." "Good." She pulled another weed. "You shouldn't be okay. Not with this." She stood up, brushed dirt from her knees. "I'll make coffee. Come over when you're ready." That night, I pulled out the old photo albums, the ones I kept in the hall closet. Michael at 7 holding a Mother's Day card, construction paper, red crayon hearts. "You're the best mom, EVR." Michael at 12 helping Tom build a fence in the backyard, both of them smiling. Michael at 18 moving into his first apartment, furniture we'd bought. Tom and I loading boxes. Every photo I'd been smiling, proud, hopeful. In every photo he'd been taking. I just hadn't known it yet. My phone rang. Sarah. "Hi, Mom. How are you?" I hesitated. Then, "I've been reviewing some financial documents with Patricia Moore, my attorney." Sarah's voice changed, cautious. "Why? Is something wrong?" "I'm not sure yet, just being thorough." "Mom." Sarah sighed. "Please don't make this into a big thing. Michael is stressed. He's looking for work. He's struggling. If you start accusing him of something—" "I'm not accusing anyone," I said quietly. "I'm reviewing my own documents, my accounts, that's all." "But why now? What happened?" I didn't answer. "Mom, please, he's your son. He's family. Whatever you think is happening, I'm sure there's an explanation. Just don't overreact." I hung up, sat there holding the phone. Sarah didn't see it. Couldn't see it. Not yet. That was okay. I'd show her later. When I had to. Sunday morning. Helen came over with 2 cups of coffee, sat down at my kitchen table. "Patricia called me yesterday," Helen said, "asked me to confirm my statement about what I've witnessed. I told her everything." I nodded, couldn't speak. "Carol," Helen set down her coffee, "you were right to be worried. I was right to be worried, and now you know. You have proof." "I didn't want to be right," I said. "I know." Helen reached across the table, squeezed my hand. "But you are, and now you get to decide what to do with that." Monday afternoon, Patricia called. "Can you come in tomorrow? We need to talk about next steps." The next day, I was back in her conference room. The folders were still there, evidence of everything Michael had done. Patricia sat down, folded her hands on the table. "You have a strong case," she said. "The financial records, the forged signatures, the emails, the attempted property transfer, the medical evaluation proving your competency. Carol, you could file a criminal complaint, elder financial abuse, forgery, fraud." She paused. "But are you prepared for what comes next?" I looked at her, at the evidence on the table. "What comes next? I asked. Patricia slid one more document across the table. A legal form. Official. Serious. At the top it read, Emergency Property Transfer Petition. If you're serious about protecting yourself, Patricia said, we need to act fast. 3 days after I saw the evidence. June 15th, a Tuesday. Michael was at a networking event. Jennifer had taken Emma and Jake to swimming lessons. The house was mine for the afternoon, really mine. For the first time in weeks, I could breathe. I sat down at the kitchen table, the same table where Michael had called me a guest, the same table where Tom and I used to drink coffee every morning, the same table where we'd made every important decision for 43 years of marriage. I had Patricia's folder in front of me, the evidence, bank statements, emails, legal documents, all of it. And I had my will, the one Tom and I had drawn up in 2012, 3 years before he died. I opened it, read it again for the 10th time that week. Everything to Michael. The house, the investments, Tom's life insurance, my pension, what was left of it when I died. All of it. To Michael. We'd set it up that way because Sarah was doing well. Good job. Financial stability. Michael was struggling back then, too. His business had just failed. We wanted to make sure he'd be okay. He needs it more, Tom had said. Sarah will understand. I'd agreed. But that was 12 years ago, before Michael moved in, before the theft, before he called me a guest, before I saw those emails. I sat there looking at that will, at my signature, at Tom's signature next to mine, and I thought about 7-year-old Michael. Mother's Day, 1987, 37 years ago. Michael came running into the kitchen. He was holding something behind his back. His face was bright, excited. Close your eyes, Mommy. I closed them, heard him rustling with paper, giggling. Okay, open. A card, construction paper, folded in half, red crayon hearts all over the front. Inside, in his careful 7-year-old handwriting, You're the best mom, EVR. I love you, Michael. He'd spelled ever wrong. EVR. I still had that card, upstairs, in my desk drawer. I'd kept it for 37 years because it was the purest thing I'd ever received. No agenda, no calculation, just a little boy who loved his mother, who wanted her to know. That little boy had believed I was the best mother ever, and I'd tried to be. I really had. But somewhere between that 7-year-old making crayon cards and the 42-year-old stealing from my bank account, something had gone wrong. I didn't know when exactly. Didn't know if it was one moment or 1,000 small moments. Didn't know if I'd caused it or just failed to stop it. All I knew was the boy who made that card was gone, and the man who'd replaced him was taking everything I had. I sat at that kitchen table. The afternoon light was coming through the window, warm, golden. Tom's roses were blooming outside. I could see them through the glass. Part of me still wanted to help Michael. The mother in me. The part that remembered the crayon card. The part that had worked double shifts to pay for his college. That had co-signed his business loan. That had paid for his wedding. That part of me wanted to fix this. Wanted to believe he could change. Wanted to forgive. But there was another part. A newer part. Or maybe it had always been there, and I'd just been ignoring it. That part asked, what kind of help? Enabling him to steal more? Letting him take my house? Standing by while he destroys himself and takes me down with him? That part asked, where does helping end and destroying begin? I looked at the will again. Everything to Michael. Then I looked at the evidence folder. $47,000 stolen, forged signatures, emails planning to sell my house. And I realized something. I'd spent 40 years teaching Michael that he could take whatever he wanted from me, that I would always say yes, that I would always prioritize his needs over mine, that I was negotiable. He'd learned the lesson. He'd learned it well. But lessons can be unlearned. I pulled out a piece of paper, a pen, started writing. Not anger, not revenge, just clarity. I wrote down the names of people who deserve my estate when I died. Sarah, my daughter, who called every Sunday, who'd been distant but was trying, who would inherit responsibly. Emma and Jake, my grandchildren, who deserved a future their father wasn't gambling away. The education foundation Tom and I had donated to for years. Teachers helping kids who couldn't afford college. Kids like Michael had been once, before he'd forgotten what it meant to need help. I didn't write Michael's name. I folded the paper, opened the drawer where I kept Tom's old cookbooks, the one with the pot roast recipe, the one where I'd hidden copies of my house deed. I put the paper inside, between the pages, next to the evidence. Someday soon I'd take this list to Patricia, update my will, make it official. But for now, this was enough. This list, this decision, made alone, in my house, at my kitchen table. I sat there for a long time. The sun was starting to set, orange and pink through the window. The roses were darkening in the fading light. I sat in the quiet house that afternoon, surrounded by 40 years of memories, and I realized this wasn't my son anymore, or maybe this was always who he was and I just refused to see it. Either way, it didn't matter. What mattered was this: I had a choice. I could keep playing the nice mother, the understanding mother, the mother who sacrificed everything. I could let Michael take what he wanted, hope he'd change, hope he'd wake up one day and remember who I was, who he used to be. Or I could protect what was mine, what Tom and I had built together, what my grandchildren deserved, what I had earned. Those were my choices. And sitting there at that kitchen table, in the golden light of a Tuesday afternoon in June, I knew which one I was going to make. My phone rang. Patricia. "Carol," she said, "have you thought about what we discussed? About next steps?" I looked at the paper in Tom's cookbook, at the will on the table, at the evidence folder. "I have," I said. "And?" I took a breath. "I've made my decision," I said. My voice was steady, clear, no hesitation. "I want to transfer the house into a trust, Sarah, Emma, and Jake, protected, where Michael can't touch it." Patricia was quiet for a moment, then, "And Michael? I want him to know exactly why I'm doing this." Another pause. "Okay," Patricia said, "then we need to move fast. Can you come in tomorrow morning? We'll start the paperwork." "I'll be there." I hung up, sat there holding the phone. This wasn't anger. This wasn't revenge. This was love with boundaries. This was protection. This was choosing myself. Finally, the next morning I printed everything: the bank statements, the emails, Patricia's legal summary, Helen's witness statement, all of it. I put it in a manila envelope, addressed it to Sarah in Denver. Overnight shipping. She needed to see this, not hear about it over the phone. See it. Read it herself. The evidence her brother had spent 18 months building against me. I mailed it from the post office, not from home. Michael couldn't know yet. 2 days later. Friday morning. My phone rang. Sarah. Her voice was shaking. "Mom, I got your package. Did you read it?" "I'm reading it now." Pause. "The emails. Mom, these emails." "I know." "He called you. Jennifer said you'd never figure this out." "Mom, they were planning to sell your house, to take the money, while you were still living there." I didn't say anything. Let her process. "I told you not to overreact," Sarah said quietly. "I told you he was just stressed, that you were making it into a big deal." "You didn't know." "I should have listened to you." Her voice broke. "I'm so sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry." "Sarah, I'm coming. I'm booking a flight right now. Tonight if I can. I'll be there by tomorrow." "You don't have to." "Yes, I do." Her voice was firm now, angry. "He's my brother, but you're my mother. And if he thinks he's going to get away with this, he's wrong. I'll tell the court exactly what he did. Everything." After we hung up, I sat there holding the phone. My daughter was coming home. That same afternoon, Michael found my calendar. I'd left it on the kitchen counter. Stupid, careless. But I was tired. I'd been so careful for weeks, and I'd slipped. The calendar had Patricia's name written on it. Tuesday, 9 a.m., Thursday, 2 p.m., tomorrow, 10 a.m. Michael walked into the kitchen, held up the calendar. "You're seeing Patricia Moore a lot lately," he said. His voice was casual, but his eyes were cold. "Routine estate review," I said. "Nothing important." "Nothing important." He set the calendar down. "Mom, if there's something you need help with, financial planning, legal documents, I'm happy to go with you. You don't need to pay an attorney for things I can help with." "I'm fine." He stepped closer. "Are you sure? Because lately you've been acting strange, distracted. Helen mentioned you seemed confused when she talked to you last week." Helen had said no such thing. I knew that. Michael knew I knew. He was testing me. "I'm not confused," I said. "Okay." He smiled. That patient smile. The one that made me feel small. "But if you're having trouble remembering things, keeping track of appointments, managing your finances, we should probably talk to a doctor, get you evaluated, just to be safe." There it was, the threat, wrapped in concern. "I don't need to be evaluated." "Of course not." He picked up his car keys. "But it might be smart, preventive care. At your age, cognitive decline can happen fast. Better to catch it early." He left. The front door closed. His car started, pulled out of the driveway. I stood in the kitchen, shaking, not from fear, from anger. He was escalating, threatening to have me declared incompetent, using my age as a weapon. Saturday. Sarah arrived. She hugged me at the door, held on tight. When she pulled back, her eyes were red. "Show me everything," she said. We sat at the kitchen table. I showed her the original evidence, the files Patricia had compiled, everything. Sarah read for an hour. Didn't speak, just read. Her face got harder with every page. Finally, she looked up. "How do we stop him?" "Patricia has a plan. We're meeting Monday. You should come." "I'm not leaving until this is over." Sunday night. Michael came home, saw Sarah's suitcase in the living room. "Sarah." His voice was surprised, pleased. "What are you doing here?" "Visiting Mom," Sarah said. Her voice was cold. "That's great. It's been too long." He moved toward her for a hug. She stepped back. "Actually," Sarah said, "I'm here because Mom sent me some documents, financial records, emails. I've been reading them." Michael's face changed. The smile vanished. "What documents?" "Bank statements," Sarah said, showing 17 unauthorized withdrawals, $47,000, 3 forged signatures. "Sarah, I can explain. I also read the emails between you and Jennifer, planning to sell Mom's house, talking about how she'd never figure it out." Michael's jaw tightened. "You don't understand. I was helping." "You were stealing." "I was managing her finances. She asked me to. She signed the power of attorney. She wanted help." "She wanted help with medical emergencies," Sarah said, "not permission for you to clean out her bank account." Michael turned to me. "Mom, tell her. Tell her you knew about the withdrawals, that we discussed it." I looked at him. This man who used to be my son. "We never discussed it," I said quietly. "You forged my signature 3 times. You're confused." "I'm not confused." My voice was steady. "And I'm not senile, and I'm not incompetent. I know exactly what you did." Michael stared at me, then at Sarah, then back at me. "This is a mistake," he said. "Both of you are making a huge mistake." He walked out, slammed the door. His car engine started. Tires squealed, pulling out of the driveway. Sarah sat down, put her head in her hands. "I can't believe I defended him," she said. "I told you to give him time. I told you he was just stressed. I was so stupid." "You weren't stupid," I said. "You were his sister. You wanted to believe the best. That's not stupid. What happens now? Now we protect what's left." Monday morning. Michael was gone when we woke up. His car wasn't in the driveway. Jennifer and the kids weren't there either. Good. We had work to do. Patricia's office, 10 o'clock. Patricia, Sarah, and me, war room. Michael knows you're taking action, Patricia said. That means he's going to move fast. We need to move faster. She spread documents on the conference table. We're going to do 3 things. First, transfer the house into an irrevocable trust. Sarah as trustee, Emma and Jake as beneficiaries. Michael cannot contest it. Sarah nodded. Second, we're filing a complaint with Adult Protective Services. Elder financial exploitation. The evidence is overwhelming. And third, I asked. Third, we're getting ahead of him. He's going to file for guardianship. Claim you're incompetent. We're going to file a preemptive declaration. Your medical records. Your cognitive evaluation. Witness statements from Helen, from me, from Sarah. We establish your competency before he can question it. How long will this take? Sarah asked. We can file the trust paperwork this week, the complaint and competency declaration within days. But Carol, Patricia looked at me. Once we do this, there's no going back. Michael will know, and he's not going to take this quietly. I know, I said. Are you ready? I thought about the crayon card in my desk drawer, the little boy who'd spelled ever wrong, the son I'd worked double shifts for, the man who'd called me a guest. I'm ready, I said. Tuesday morning, Michael showed up, with his lawyer, a man in a suit, briefcase, serious face. Mrs. Chen, the lawyer said, my client has some concerns about recent decisions you've been making. He's worried about your capacity to manage your affairs. We'd like to discuss having you evaluated by a medical professional. Sarah stepped forward. She was evaluated. In March, Dr. Warren's office. Cognitive assessment, normal. Decision-making capacity, intact. No signs of dementia or diminished capacity. The lawyer blinked. I see. We also have documented evidence of financial exploitation, Sarah continued. $47,000 stolen over 18 months. Forged signatures. Unauthorized property transfer attempts. Would you like to see the files? Michael's lawyer looked at Michael. Michael's face was red, angry. This is ridiculous, Michael said. I was helping her, managing things. She asked me to. She has power of attorney documents that prove otherwise, Sarah said. Limited authority, medical emergencies only. You exceeded that authority, repeatedly. The lawyer closed his briefcase. I need to speak with my client. They left, stood in the driveway talking. Michael was gesturing, angry. The lawyer shook his head, got in his car, drove away. Michael stood there, alone, looking at the house. Then he got in his car, left. He didn't come back that night. Wednesday, a registered letter arrived. I signed for it, opened it. Legal document, official, serious. Petition for emergency guardianship. Michael was suing me, claiming I had diminished capacity, claiming I needed someone to make decisions for me, claiming he was the appropriate guardian. The hearing was scheduled 30 days from now. I sat down, read it 3 times. Sarah looked over my shoulder. He's actually doing it. He's actually trying to take control. I called Patricia. We knew this was coming, Patricia said. We're ready. We file our response tomorrow. Your medical records, the financial evidence, witness statements. We show the court exactly why Michael is filing this petition, to cover up his theft. Will it work? Yes. Patricia's voice was confident. Carol, you have everything on your side. The evidence, the medical records, the law. We're going to win this. How long? 30 days until the hearing. But there's something else. She paused. Michael can request an emergency hearing, claim immediate danger. If he does that, we could be in court within 72 hours. 72 hours. 3 days. I hung up, looked at Sarah. He's going to request emergency hearing, I said. I know he is. Then we prepare, Sarah said. We get everything ready, and we show the court who he really is. That afternoon, Helen came over, knocked on the door, brought a casserole like always. Wednesday. But this time she also brought a manila envelope. "For your attorney," she said. I updated my statement, added more dates, more details, everything I've seen over the past 18 months. She handed me the envelope, 3 typed pages, dates, times, observations. The day Michael screamed at me about money, the morning Jennifer blocked me from seeing Emma and Jake, the afternoon Michael told her, Helen, that I was getting senile and couldn't be trusted alone. "I've been documenting for months," Helen said. "I kept hoping I was wrong, but I wasn't." I hugged her, couldn't speak. "You're doing the right thing," Helen said. "It's hard, but it's right." Thursday afternoon, Sarah and I were making Tom's pot roast, the recipe he'd perfected over 40 years. Sarah was chopping onions, crying. From the onions, she said, but we both knew better. "I should have been here," she said. "I should have seen what was happening." "You're here now," I said. "That's what matters." We moved around the kitchen like we used to when she was little, before she moved to Colorado, before the distance. It felt good, normal, like coming home. "When this is over," Sarah said, "I'm visiting more every month, at least." "You don't have to. I want to." She looked at me. "I'm not losing you to him, not to anyone." Friday evening, I stood in Tom's garden, deadheading the roses. Sarah watched from the porch. "Dad would know what to do," she said. I shook my head. "Your father would tell me to protect myself, to stop letting Michael take advantage. Tom never believed in martyrdom. He believed in partnership, respect. Michael forgot that, or never learned it." I clipped a dead bloom, dropped it in the bucket. "Tom would approve of what I'm doing," I said. "I know he would." Sarah smiled. Sad. "Yeah, he would." Saturday morning, 6 a.m., my phone rang. "Patricia. Carol." Her voice was urgent. "Michael filed an emergency petition. The hearing is in 72 hours, Monday. Morning, 9 a.m. I sat up. "What?" "He claimed you're an immediate danger to yourself, that you're making irrational financial decisions, that you need immediate intervention." Sarah was already awake, looking at me, concerned. "What do we do?" I asked. "We go to court," Patricia said, "and we show them the truth. Can you be at my office this afternoon? We need to prepare, review your testimony, organize the evidence. We have 3 days, Carol. We need to use every minute." I looked at Sarah, at the house around me, at Tom's roses through the window. "I'll be there," I said. Patricia paused. "Carol, this is it. This is the fight. Are you ready?" I thought about the crayon card, the stolen money, the guest comment, the forged signatures. I thought about 40 years of saying yes when I meant no, 40 years of putting Michael first, 40 years of being negotiable. "I'm ready," I said. Monday morning, 8:15. The hearing was scheduled for 9. Patricia had told us to arrive early. "Never let them see you rush," she said. Sarah drove. I sat in the passenger seat, watched the familiar streets go past. The coffee shop where Tom and I used to have breakfast on Sundays, the elementary school where I'd taught for 35 years, the park where Michael learned to ride a bike, my whole life, right there, and Michael was trying to take it. Sarah parked. We walked toward the courthouse. Patricia was waiting outside her law office. It was in the same building, professional, calm. "Ready?" she asked. I nodded, couldn't speak. We went inside. The waiting room was too bright. Fluorescent lights, hard chairs, legal posters on the walls. Michael was already there, sitting in the corner, Jennifer beside him. His lawyer, a different one now, not the one who'd come to my house, sat across from them. Young, maybe 30. Serious expression. Michael looked up when we walked in. Our eyes met. For a moment, he looked like the little boy who'd made crayon cards, uncertain, scared. Then his jaw tightened. The moment passed. I sat down, Sarah on one side, Patricia on the other. We waited. Michael's lawyer stood, walked over, extended his hand to Patricia. David Chen, representing Michael Chen. Patricia shook his hand. Patricia Moore, representing Carol Chen. Professional, polite, but cold. Perhaps our clients could speak privately, David suggested. Before we go in, see if we can resolve this without court intervention. Patricia looked at me. I nodded. Michael stood, walked over, sat in the chair across from me. We were alone. Sarah and Jennifer had moved to opposite corners, Patricia and David to the hallway, just Michael and me, mother and son. "Mom," he said. His voice was quiet, careful. "You don't have to do this. We can work this out between us, family." "We're not family anymore," I said. My voice was steady. "You made sure of that." "I was trying to help. You stole $47,000 from me. I was managing your finances. You signed the power of attorney. You gave me permission. For medical emergencies, not for your credit card bills." He leaned forward. His voice dropped. "Think about your grandchildren, Mom. Emma and Jake. You're going to destroy their relationship with you. Is that what you want?" I looked at him. This man who used to be my son. "I am thinking about them," I said quietly. "I'm thinking about what kind of man their father is. What kind of example I'd be setting if I let this continue. If I taught them that family means taking whatever you want, that love means letting people hurt you." Michael sat back. His face hardened. "You're making a mistake." "No," I said. "I made a mistake. 42 years ago, I raised you to think you were entitled to everything I had. That's my mistake, but I'm done making it." He stared at me, then stood, walked back to Jennifer, didn't look back. Patricia returned. "It's time." Conference room, smaller than I'd expected, a long table, the court mediator at the head, a woman, maybe 50, professional, no nonsense. "I'm Mediator Harrison," she said. "I've reviewed the petitions from both parties. This is an unusual case. We have an emergency guardianship petition from Michael Chen, claiming his mother lacks capacity to make financial and medical decisions. And we have a counter petition from Carol Chen with evidence of financial exploitation." She looked at both sides. "Let's start with the guardianship petition. Mr. Chen, your attorney may present your case." David stood. "Your Honor, my client is concerned about his mother's recent behavior. She's 68 years old. In the past month, she's made several questionable financial decisions. She's withdrawn large sums of money. She's talking about changing her will, cutting out her son entirely. She's consulting with attorneys without informing her family. These are signs of confusion, poor judgment, possibly the beginning of dementia." Patricia stood. "Your Honor, Mrs. Chen had a comprehensive cognitive evaluation in March of this year, Dr. Warren's office. The results show normal cognitive function, intact decision-making capacity, no signs of dementia or diminished capacity. The evaluation is in your packet." Mediator Harrison opened a folder, read for a moment, nodded. "The medical records support Mrs. Chen's competency," she said. "Mr. Chen, do you have any medical evidence to contradict this?" David hesitated. "No, Your Honor, but cognitive decline can happen quickly. Based on a March evaluation showing full capacity, I'm not convinced there's an emergency that warrants guardianship." Mediator Harrison looked at Patricia. "Ms. Moore, you mentioned evidence of financial exploitation. Would you like to present that?" "Yes, Your Honor." Patricia opened a folder, pulled out documents, spread them on the table. Bank statements, emails, legal documents, property records. The evidence. All of it. Right there. "These are Mrs. Chen's bank records for the past 18 months, Patricia said, since November 2022, when Michael Chen moved into her home. There are 17 unauthorized withdrawals, totaling $47,000. Mediator Harrison leaned forward, looked at the statements. 3 of these withdrawals were made with forged signatures. Patricia continued. Mrs. Chen's name, written by her son. We have handwriting analysis available if needed. She pulled out more documents. These are emails between Michael Chen and his wife Jennifer, planning to sell Mrs. Chen's house, discussing how she'd never figure out the theft, strategizing about getting her to sign more documents. Mediator Harrison read the emails. Her face didn't change, but her jaw tightened. "And this," Patricia said, sliding one more document forward, "is a preliminary quitclaim deed Michael Chen filed at the county recorder's office, attempting to transfer ownership of Mrs. Chen's house to himself. The filing was rejected due to incomplete notarization, but, Your Honor, he was testing the process." The room was silent. Mediator Harrison looked at Michael. "Mr. Chen, do you have a response to these allegations?" Michael's lawyer whispered to him. Michael stood. "I was helping my mother," he said, "managing her finances. She asked me to. The power of attorney was legitimate. She signed it willingly." "Did she authorize you to withdraw $47,000? Mediator Harrison asked. "She knew about the financial difficulties, my job loss. She wanted to help." "Did she authorize the withdrawals?" Michael hesitated. "We discussed her helping the family." "That's not what I asked." Mediator Harrison's voice was sharp. "Did she specifically authorize these 17 withdrawals? She gave me power of attorney for medical emergencies, limited authority, not blanket access to her accounts." Mediator Harrison looked at the documents again. "Ms. Moore, do you have witnesses?" "Yes, Your Honor, 2 in person, several written statements." "Proceed." Patricia looked at Sarah. "Sarah Chen, Mrs. Chen's daughter." Sarah stood, walked to the witness chair. She looked at Michael, then at me, then at the mediator. "My name is Sarah Chen," she began. Her voice was steady, strong. "I'm Carol Chen's daughter. I live in Denver, Colorado. I've been out of state for years, and I regret that, because I didn't see what was happening to my mother until she sent me evidence last week." She took a breath. "My brother Michael moved into our mother's house 18 months ago. He told me he was helping her, that she was getting older and needed support. I believed him. When my mother mentioned that Michael was being controlling, I dismissed her concerns. I told her she was overreacting. I told her to give him time." Sarah's voice tightened. "I was wrong. I've read the bank statements, the emails. I watched my brother make our mother feel like a stranger in her own home. I heard him threaten to have her evaluated, to declare her incompetent when she questioned him. This isn't help. This is exploitation, and I will not stand by and let him destroy our mother's life." She sat down, looked at Michael. Her face was hard. Patricia stood again. "Your Honor, I'd also like to submit a written statement from Helen Martinez, Mrs. Chen's neighbor of 15 years. She handed papers to the mediator. Mediator Harrison read them aloud. "Helen Martinez, age 72, retired nurse. Statement reads, I have lived next door to Carol Chen for 15 years. I have observed her daily. She is sharp, capable, and independent. Over the past 18 months since Michael Chen moved in, I have witnessed concerning changes. I have heard arguments where Michael told Carol she was confused and couldn't manage her own affairs. I have seen Jennifer Chen prevent Carol from seeing her grandchildren. I observed Michael threatening Carol, saying if she didn't cooperate, he would have her evaluated for dementia. Carol Chen is not diminished. She is being controlled." Mediator Harrison set down the statement. "I also have statements here from 3 other witnesses," Patricia said. "Carol's financial advisor, the president of her garden club, a colleague from her teaching career, all confirm her competency and express concern about Michael's behavior." Mediator Harrison nodded, looked at the evidence spread across the table. "Mr. Chen," she said, "I'm going to ask you directly. Did you forge your mother's signature on checks?" Michael's lawyer touched his arm, whispered. Michael shook his head. "I need to consult with my attorney," David said. "Answer the question," Mediator Harrison said. Her voice was firm. "Did you or did you not forge Carol Chen's signature?" Michael stood. His face was red, angry. I was trying to save my family. His voice rose. I lost my job. We were drowning. My mother has money sitting in accounts. She doesn't need it. She's old. She doesn't need that big house. I have kids who could grow up there. Kids who need stability. I was trying to provide for them. Is that a crime? Yes, Mediator Harrison said quietly. Actually, it is. Michael stared at her, the reality sinking in. You're old, Mom, he said. He turned to me. His voice was desperate now, pleading. You don't need this house. You don't need all that money. I have a family to support. I was desperate. You're being selfish. Mr. Chen, Patricia said sharply, that's enough. But Michael kept going. You raised me to believe family helps each other. You gave me everything when I was growing up. Why stop now? Why cut me off? I'm your son. And I was your mother, I said quietly. The room went silent. I stood, looked at Michael. I remember when you were 7, I said. My voice was calm, measured. You made me a Mother's Day card, construction paper and red crayons. You told me I was the best mother ever. You spelled ever wrong. EVR. Michael's face crumpled, just for a moment. I tried to be that mother, I continued. I worked double shifts to pay for your college. I co-signed your loan when your business failed. I paid for your daycare, your wedding, your down payment. I gave you over $100,000, willingly, because I loved you, because that's what mothers do. I took a breath. But somewhere along the way, you decided taking was easier than earning. You decided my life, my house, my money, all of it was yours. You forgot I was a person, with my own needs, my own rights. You saw me as an obstacle, as a resource, as a guest in my own home. Michael looked down. I hope someday you understand what you've lost, I said. It wasn't just a house. Mediator Harrison was quiet for a long moment. Then she reached for a folder, pulled out a document. Ms. Moore, I understand Mrs. Chen has filed paperwork regarding her property? Yes, Your Honor. Patricia pulled out the final document, slid it across the table. Mrs. Chen has transferred her house into an irrevocable trust. The beneficiaries are her daughter, Sarah Chen, and her grandchildren, Emma and Jake Chen. The trust is managed by an independent trustee. Michael Chen has no legal claim to the property. Michael leaned forward, stared at the document. His face went pale. What? His voice was barely a whisper. What is that? The house has been transferred, Patricia said calmly. You have no legal standing to contest it. Mrs. Chen acted within her rights as the sole property owner. The transfer is complete. Jennifer stood up. Her face was red, furious. You're giving the house to Sarah? After everything we sacrificed? After we lived there? Took care of you? I looked at her. This woman who'd rearranged my china without asking, who'd kept my grandchildren away from me, who'd written those emails. You didn't sacrifice, I said quietly. You took. There's a difference. Mediator Harrison closed her folder, looked at both parties. I'm dismissing the guardianship petition, she said. Mrs. Carol Chen's competency is clearly established by medical records and witness testimony. There is no basis for emergency intervention or guardianship. She looked at Michael. Her voice was harder now. However, based on the evidence presented, I am referring this case to the District Attorney's Office for Criminal Investigation. Elder financial abuse, forgery, fraud. These are serious charges, Mr. Chen. Michael's lawyer stood quickly. Your Honor, if we could discuss... This hearing is concluded. Mediator Harrison stood. Court is adjourned. She left. The door closed behind her. Michael stood there, staring at the table, at the evidence, at the trust document with Sarah's name on it. Then he turned, walked out, didn't look at me, didn't say anything. Jennifer grabbed her purse, followed him. The door slammed. Sarah came over, put her arms around me. I could feel her shaking. Patricia started gathering the documents, organized, professional. But she was smiling. "It's over," she said. "Carol, it's over." I sat down. The conference room felt too bright, too loud, too much. Sarah knelt beside me. "Mom, are you okay?" When the mediator closed the file, I didn't feel victorious. I felt tired, sad, but also clear. This was the right thing, the hard thing, but the right thing. "I'm okay," I said. Patricia sat down across from me. "Michael will be contacted by the district attorney. They'll investigate. He'll likely face charges. At minimum, he'll have to repay the $47,000, plus legal fees." "And the house?" I asked. "The trust is ironclad. He can't touch it. When you pass, Sarah and the kids inherit. Everything documented, everything legal, everything protected." Sarah squeezed my hand. "You did it, Mom. You protected yourself. You protected us." I looked at the conference room, at the evidence still scattered on the table, at the trust, document with my grandchildren's names, and I realized it was over. After 18 months of Michael living in my house, after the guest comment, after the theft, after the gaslighting, after the threats, it was finally over. 6 weeks later, the house transfer was complete. Irrevocable trust, Sarah's name as trustee, Emma and Jake as beneficiaries. Michael couldn't contest it, couldn't touch it, couldn't take it. The court ordered restitution, $47,000, 24 monthly payments, $1,958 per month, plus $8,000 in legal fees, wage garnishment, automatic withdrawal from Michael's paycheck. He'd found work finally, some entry-level position, and a no-contact order. 2 years. Michael could only communicate through attorneys, supervised visits with Emma and Jake, if I consented, which I hadn't. Not yet. I'd also filed the paperwork with Adult Protective Services. The district attorney's office was investigating. Patricia said charges were likely: elder financial abuse, forgery, fraud. Michael had moved out the day after the hearing, took his family to Jennifer's parents' house. Different state. Sarah heard they were struggling. Jennifer's parents had loaned them money for the lawyer. Michael's credit was destroyed. I didn't feel sorry for him. I didn't feel vindictive either. I just felt done. I was moving, downsizing. The 4-bedroom house was too big, too many memories, too much space for one person. I'd found a 2-bedroom condo, same neighborhood, 2 buildings down from Helen, easier to maintain, smaller, but mine. Really mine. Sarah helped me pack. We found the Mother's Day card, the one from when Michael was 7, construction paper, red crayon hearts. "You're the best mom, EVR." Sarah started to throw it away. I stopped her. "Keep it," I said. "It's not a lie. That little boy meant it when he drew those hearts. That little boy doesn't exist anymore, but he did once." Sarah cried. "I should have listened to you sooner." "You listened when it mattered," I told her. "You're here now." She stayed 2 weeks, helped me move. We had coffee on Helen's porch every morning, laughed about old family stories, the good ones, before everything changed. "I'll visit every Christmas," Sarah promised, "and Mother's Day, every year, no matter what." Helen showed up on moving day at 6 in the morning. 2 cups of coffee, stack of boxes. "You're not getting rid of me that easily," she said. "I'm 2 buildings down from your new place." "I know," I said. "I checked before I signed the lease." We both laughed. Some friendships don't need words, just consistency. Helen helped me sort through 40 years. She knew what mattered and what didn't. The photo albums, Tom's cookbook, my mother's china. The rest, furniture, decorations, things I'd accumulated, I donated or sold. By the end of the day, everything important fit in one small moving truck. Patricia called when the trust finalized. "You're officially protected," she said. "Michael has no legal claim to any of your assets, the house, your accounts, your pension. Everything is documented, everything is secure." "Thank you," I said, "for believing me." "Carol, you had evidence. You had courage. I just filed paperwork. Pause. My mother didn't. That's why I do this work. You gave yourself what she couldn't. Professional distance dissolved for just a moment. Two women who understood loss. A week later, Patricia and I met to update my will. Everything documented now. Sarah as executor. Healthcare proxy. Sarah only. Financial power of attorney revoked entirely. Advance directives clear. Tom's ring to Jake. My mother's china to Emma. Everything chosen deliberately. Most organized estate I've seen, Patricia said. Most people avoid this. I learned what happens when you're not prepared, I said. Michael's letter arrived 6 weeks after the hearing, via Patricia's office. She called first. Do you want me to read it? She asked. Or should I just file it? Send it, I said. It came the next day. 1 page, handwritten. Mom, I don't expect you to read this. Sarah probably told you I'm angry. I am. But I'm also confused. When did helping you become stealing? I was there when you needed things fixed. When you were lonely after Dad died. I was the one who showed up. I know what the bank statements say. I know what the court ruled. But you raised me to believe family helps each other. That's all I was doing. Helping. Maybe I didn't ask every time. Maybe I assumed more than I should have, but it was never malicious. Jennifer says I should let this go. Her parents say you were within your rights. Sarah won't talk to me. My kids ask why they can't see Grandma. I don't know what to tell them. I'm sorry you felt disrespected on Mother's Day. That guest comment. I was stressed. I didn't mean it how it sounded. But I can't take back what I said. Just like you can't take back what you did. Maybe someday we can talk. Maybe not. Either way, I guess this is how it ends. Michael, I read it once, folded it back into the envelope. Patricia asked if I wanted to respond. No, I said. There's nothing left to say. He still thinks he was helping. Doesn't understand what he took. Maybe never will. I put the letter in a file box labeled Legal Michael. Someday Emma and Jake might want to understand what happened. This would help them see both sides. But for now, it was just a letter. And I was done responding to excuses. I planted roses on my condo patio, cuttings from Tom's garden. Helen helped me dig them up before I moved. They were small now, bare stems. But they'd grow. They'll bloom next June, Helen said. Just need the right conditions. I watered them every morning. Tom's old watering can, ritual, connection, reminder. Some things survive transplanting. My first night in the condo, I couldn't find the light switch in the bathroom. Got disoriented in the dark. But when I finally found it, turned on the light, looked around at the small space, I laughed. Out loud. Alone in my little bathroom at 2 a.m, laughing. Because it was mine. Just mine. No one could take it. No one could make me. Feel like a guest in my own life. Garden Club met on Tuesday. I'd missed 18 months of meetings. Michael hadn't liked me going. Said it was unnecessary and, you need to rest, Mom. I walked in. Marjorie looked up from her catalog, smiled. Carol, we missed you. Not. Where have you been? Not. We heard what happened. Just, we missed you. I sat down in my old seat, felt the weight lift off my shoulders. I was back. I was me again. Sarah called 2 months after I moved. Mom, I've been thinking. We should start a new Mother's Day tradition. What do you think? I looked around my small condo, the roses on the patio, Helen waving from next door, the photo of Tom on my nightstand, a life smaller in square footage but bigger in peace. I think, I said, that's exactly what I need. 8 months later, January 2025, I'm settled now. The 2-bedroom condo is smaller than the house, but it's mine, really mine. No one can take it. No one can make me feel like I don't belong. Every morning at 6:30, Helen and I have coffee on my patio. We watch the sunrise over the community gardens. She's teaching me to knit. I'm terrible at it. My scarves look like deformed snakes. But she laughs and fixes my mistakes. That's what friends do. They show up. They help without keeping score. Sarah visits once a month now, flies from Denver for long weekends. We cook together. Talk about everything and nothing, the simple things, the good things. The restitution payments arrive every month, $1,958. I don't spend it. I put it in a separate account. When Emma and Jake turn 18, they'll get it. Their father's debt paid back as a gift, maybe petty, maybe justice. I'm not sure which. I video call Emma and Jake once a month, court supervised. They're getting taller. Emma reads chapter books now. Jake shows me his drawings. They don't understand why we can't visit in person. Someday I'll explain. For now, I love them through a screen. The community I built over 40 years, they're still here. They always were. I just couldn't see them when Michael was blocking the view. Helen next door, the garden club ladies, Patricia's Christmas cards. Support that doesn't demand, love that doesn't take. Independence doesn't mean isolation. It means choice. I choose who gets my time, who earns my trust, who deserves a place in my life. That's not selfish. That's survival. Last month, I met with Patricia again, making sure everything was documented. The trust is ironclad. Sarah becomes executor when I'm gone. Emma and Jake inherit equally. The house will be sold when Sarah decides. The money split per the trust agreement. Michael can't contest, can't manipulate, can't steal. My will is updated. Healthcare directives clear. End-of-life wishes documented. Tom's ring goes to Jake. My mother's china to Emma. Everything chosen deliberately. Nobody will have to guess. Nobody will have to fight. Most organized client I have, Patricia said. I learned from experience, I said. I've been volunteering at the senior center, teaching a class, protecting your assets. 15 people showed up the first week. We talk about power of attorney, red flags, how to say no to adult children, how to love without enabling. Last week, a woman asked, "My daughter wants her name on my bank account for emergencies. Should I?" I smiled. Let me tell you what happened to me. I've learned something these past months. Being a good mother doesn't mean sacrificing everything. It doesn't mean accepting disrespect because they're family. Love and boundaries can coexist. They must. Michael called me a guest in my own home. That was the moment I realized. I'd been giving him ownership for years. Every time I said yes when I meant no. Every time I signed without reading. Every time I prioritized his comfort over my autonomy. I taught him I was negotiable. He took the lesson to heart. I don't hate my son. I'm sad for him. Sad for the relationship we'll never repair. Sad for Emma and Jake growing up with this rift. But I'm not responsible for his choices, only for mine. And I chose myself, finally. If you're experiencing something similar, an adult child who takes too much, demands too much, respects too little, I want you to know it's okay to set boundaries, okay to say no, okay to protect what's yours. You're not being selfish, you're being smart. And if you're an adult child reading this, thinking about your aging parents' assets, ask yourself why. Are you helping or taking, protecting them or controlling them? Because they'll know the difference eventually, and by then, it might be too late. What would you have done in my situation? Let me know in the comments. Mother's Day is coming up again, May 2025. Sarah called last week. I'm flying in. We're doing dinner at your condo, just us. Helen, Patricia. Small, quiet, honest. The way it should have always been. I'm 68 years old. I live alone in a 2-bedroom condo. I water Tom's roses every morning. They bloomed last June, pink and white and deep red, just like they did in our old garden. And I'm finally, truly home. Some days I still think about 7-year-old Michael with his crayon hearts, but I don't live in the past anymore. I live here, in this small, beautiful, peaceful present, and that's enough.